Hola. I got an A star in Cambridge IGCSE Spanish, and in this video, I will walk through the writing paper, answering each question in real time to help you do the best in your exam. Vamos! So, right here, we have a quick and simple complete the sentence. I'm gonna let you guys come back to this. We're gonna do this very last because we want to save time, we want to write. These are just 5 simple marks, so we're gonna do this very last. So for the 90-word writing, so the first thing you want to look at is these bullet points right here. Each bullet point is going to be written in a different tense. So we can see here, ¿Dónde está tu pueblo o ciudad? Right here, this is a present tense question. So we're going to want to answer this in the present tense. Now I suggest when you're taking the exam, get a piece of paper out and write each one, like bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, bullet 4, bullet 5, etc. Get a paper out and just write what tense you're going to answer it in. You're not going to lose much time by doing it, and trust me, it's pretty helpful. So right here, we're going to write present. Secondly, we have ¿Cómo vas al colegio? We can see vas, that's immediate future, and we can combine it with present, because if we just say, well, you guys will see in the writing, but right here we have vas, so this is an immediate future question. Under that, ¿Qué haces en tu pueblo o ciudad con tu familia? Another present tense answer, so write that down. I'll keep it right here. And then, ¿Cuál es tu opinión de tu pueblo o ciudad? So now this is your advantage and disadvantage question. This is likely to appear in both the 90-word writing and your 130 to 140-word writing. This is the key question, your advantage and disadvantage question. And I'm going to go over how exactly you're going to go about this. So for this, since it's only 90 words, we're going to just write one advantage and one disadvantage of our pueblo o ciudad. And lastly, ¿Qué te gustaría hacer en el próximo fin de semana? This is a conditional tense answer. Gustaría, we can see that right here. So let's write that down. There we go. So I'm going to take my advantages. Let's type it right here. I'm going to take my advantages as... okay, one of the advantages of the pueblo ciudad will be that we have many neighbors. And then let's make the disadvantage poor weather. Alright, so now I want you guys to look at this right here. This is very important to understand. Every question starts with a question, phrase, or word. So what I would suggest is you master these. I mean, this is pretty basic, simple. I'm going to have this on each page of the slide. This is very important to understand. So have a look at this. So we see ¿Qué? ¿Cuál o cuáles? ¿Cuándo? ¿Quién? ¿Dónde? ¿Cómo? ¿Cuánto? ¿Dónde? ¿Where? ¿Cómo? ¿How? ¿Qué? What will you do? ¿Cuál? ¿Which? And ¿qué? These are always going to come up. So please be aware of this, because you may slip up and make really simple mistakes just misunderstanding the first phrase. Do not do that. I do not want you guys to do that. So if you're struggling, just take note of this. So now that we have our advantages, our disadvantages, our tenses, and we understand the question words, we are ready to write. So I always suggest you just write in the actual order of the bullet points right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just directly answer each question and keep on moving. And I'm going to show you how exactly you can do that while maintaining a natural flow and kind of just staying consistent all throughout, not sounding like you're just answering bullet points directly, you understand? So I'm going to show you guys right now. Alright, so here's my answer. Let's just start right here. Directly answering, ¿Dónde está tu pueblo o ciudad? Mi pueblo está en el sur de España, en el estado de Andalucía. No going off topic, staying, getting it done, and adding, just mentioning the state to get a little more words, a little more detail. Yo soy un estudiante y voy a la escuela en bicicleta. Now the reason I've put yo soy un estudiante and not directly written yo voy is because we wanna have some flow. Like, we want to transition, we want to make sure that this sounds really natural. And if I just immediately transition from where I am to how I go to school, it doesn't really make sense. So we're going to present to the examiner that we understand the context, but we also understand how to present ourselves in a way where we're not just answering the bullets directly, but we're also not going off topic. So this is just a quick little transitioning phrase. Yo soy un estudiante y voy a la escuela en bicicleta, just providing some context. And as you can see, I've written it in the correct tense based on the question, ¿Cómo vas al colegio? Voy a la escuela. Again, I'm just using this as a transition. Cuando no tengo tarea, because the question is asking me what do I do with my family. Now, typically, I would open this up with in my free time, something like that, right? Again, like I said before, do not just directly answer it. Give it a little bit of rhythm, if that makes sense. We don't want to just say what we do and just keep moving. We have to connect this all together. So upon saying how we go to school, we can make an easy transition by saying, oh, when I don't have homework. That way we just connect to the fact that we're a student. So when I don't have homework, sets us up to now answer the third question. ¿Qué haces en tu pueblo, ciudad con tu familia? Disfruto jugando fútbol con mi hermano y viendo la televisión con mis padres. Again, just simply answering the question, no going off topic. And what I want to stress to you guys here is how I said mi hermana y mis padres. Now the question says con tu familia, and I've done that perfectly. I've said my sister, I've said my parents, but I've not directly said the word familia. And that's really important to do because you don't want to kind of just restate what the question is doing. You want to express that you have that vocabulary, you have the ability to expand. So I would highly suggest, if you can, just avoiding saying what's in the question. You can see, I didn't mention it before, but I said la escuela instead of saying colegio. So those are smaller things that you can do just to boost up your marks a little bit. Continuing on, ¿cuál es tu opinión de tu pueblo o ciudad? So now I've opened up with an opinionated sentence starter. I'm going to show you guys that right here as we see on this list. So I highly suggest you guys take a screenshot of this, look at this, and memorize a few of these. You're always going to get an opinionated question or an advantage disadvantage question. This is going to set you up for those, make it transition perfectly. So I have used right here, I have used desde mi punto de vista, from my point of view. Make sure to take a screenshot of this if you need it. Desde mi punto de vista, mi pueblo es genial, right? I like it. And that lets us transition right into as to why, answering my opinion. Lo mejor es que tengo muchos vecinos, as I've planned right here. Got a lot of neighbors. Now this is just a little transition word. De hecho, in fact, adds a little bit of detail. And you can see that on this list right here. Once again, I highly suggest getting a screenshot of this list. It's going to be really helpful. I'm going to show you guys why in the mark scheme. The IGCSE really appreciates having a nice flow, a nice transition, especially these ones, mientras, luego, entonces, time transitions. But I've just managed to use de hecho in this case so that we don't go too off topic. De hecho, in fact, la mitad de mi clase vive en mi calle. And this is great as well because mi clase connects right back to the fact that I'm a student, right? Before I was talking about how I go to school, now I'm talking about the kids in my school that live on my street, which connects to my point of having many neighbors. It all ties together. I hope you guys understand. This all ties together. That's really the goal. We want it to all flow. We don't want to just answer one by one by one by one. And I'm sorry if I'm saying that a lot, but that's really the main point of these 90-word writing questions. Continuing on, we have sin embargo, another transition word, as you guys can see right here. However, so that's more of a contrast. Sin embargo, which lets us say now the disadvantage as listed here. El clima es bastante malo. Perfect. No going off topic. Answer short and sweet. Now this again, like I said, just continuing what I've said before. No contradictions. I said the weather's quite bad. So now I'm continuing on. If it doesn't rain. Just reinforcing what I've said before. If it doesn't rain, and then answering the last question here. ¿Qué te gustaría hacer el próximo fin de semana? In conditional tense, te gustaría. I'm answering me encantaría. Again, not using the word from the question. I could write me gustaría here. It would be fine, no problem. But like I said, try avoiding that. Try writing another word. So same tense. Me encantaría visitar a mi abuela en Sevilla el sábado que viene. Again, el sábado instead of fin de semana. Saturday is the weekend. It's the exact same thing, just avoiding what has been said. So in the 90-word mark scheme, completes all tasks in the required level of detail. You have 90 words. So basically, you want about a sentence or a sentence and a half for each question. That's the required level of detail. Provides consistently relevant information and opinion. That's what I've been saying the whole time. Just please do not go off topic. That's really the key thing to get into this top band of answers here. Don't go off topic. Just answer the questions. Meaning is clear and communication is achieved, although there may be some linguistic inaccuracies. Basically, just make sure your grammar is correct and everything makes good sense. Use a straightforward vocabulary and structures. And that's what I was talking about when I said, si no llueve, yo soy un estudiante, all these transitions. That's just providing some structure. Because if we're just answering this, it's not writing. It's more like an interview. We're writing something, so we want to have a structure. We want everybody to understand how each sentence is being formed, and for that sometimes a little bit of context is needed. So that's why we have straightforward vocabulary and structure. And again, like I said, links, words, and phrases using a range of simple connectors. That's the same thing. Just creating a structure, creating a connected piece that has context. There's no contradictions among it. That's really the main thing about this 90-word writing. I'm sorry if I'm saying it a lot, but I hope you guys really focus on doing that. So you can see here examples of linking words and phrases, a little basic, and, or, but, because, then. So porque, things like that. Like I said, they really like these time sequence words. Again, luego, mientras, entonces. So if you want, include these three, but this perfectly suffices. Everything is clear. And let's continue on. Okay, so here we have the 130 to 140 word writing. Let's read the question right here. Tu amigo o amiga de Guatemala quiere saber cómo vas a pasar las vacaciones. Escribe un email a tu amigo o amiga contándole tus planes para ir de camping. So the main thing here is that this is an email. What that tells us is we want to answer it in an email format, and I don't mean that like an email address or anything. I just mean a short and sweet greeting that makes it clear to the examiner that you understand the context. So the next thing is just like the 90-word question, you're going to answer each bullet point in the tense that it's given. Now, if you do struggle writing in detail and you have problems explaining, you may want to write two tenses for certain questions when it's possible. So for example, we see right here, ¿Cómo serían unas vacaciones ideales para ti? Obviously, you're going to answer that in a conditional future, but you could throw in a past tense or a present perfect tense, however you want to do it. Just if you struggle with detail, you can try and put two tenses. I'm going to do one in this case. So we see ¿Cuánto tiempo vas a pasar en el camping? Vas right here tells us immediate future. ¿Qué te gustaría hacer en el camping? Gustaría, that's a conditional. En tu opinión, ¿cuáles son las ventajas de hacer camping? So this is the key question right here. Like I said, an opinionated question. That's really what you're going to base this writing on. So it's asking us what are las ventajas. So I suggest you make a list of the 3 advantages. And just for extra detail, I am going to add one disadvantage, and that also will allow us to kind of connect into this better. So let's take our 3 advantages right here. I'm going to say exercise, yummy snacks, and seeing animals. And for the disadvantages, let's say I miss my parents and I'm not able to call them. I know that kind of sounds odd right now, but it'll all tie together when I show you guys the writing. Moving on, we have describe un problema que tuviste la última vez que fuiste de camping. So this is directly in the past, right? Fuiste, tuviste, simple, nice past tense. And lastly, ¿Cómo serían unas vacaciones ideales para ti? It's a conditional future again. So now let's write it. I'm going to show you guys how. And like I said, these are the question word meanings. You can see them all right here again. So take note of this if you don't know it. And let's do it. Okay, so here's my answer. So like I said, we're just starting with the quick little greeting that connects to this email context. Hola amigo, me alegra saber de ti. This is a Spanish phrase for like, happy to hear from you. Hace rato que no hablamos. We haven't spoken in a while. So these are 2 phrases you could definitely take and use when you're writing emails or letters. And that ticks off our issue of addressing the email. Now let's get straight to the question. ¿Cuánto tiempo vas a pasar en el camping? Estas vacaciones voy a camping con mi amiga Julia. Creo que vamos a pasar una semana. Y estoy bastante emocionado. So you see right here, answering the question, creo que vamos a pasar una semana. That gets this ticked off right here in the right tense. Vamos. And as I mentioned in the 90 word, just did a little writing ahead of that to create some context and create a better structure. Moving on, ¿qué te gustaría hacer en el camping? Let's answer that here. Me gustaría tomar hermosas fotos del atardecer y probar s'mores. So I've done 2 things right here. If you're struggling with words, you could probably get 3 in. Me gustaría tomar hermosas fotos del atardecer, taking some nice photos of the sunset, and trying s'mores. I think those are 2 pretty camping related answers, so fits into the theme. En tu opinión, ¿cuáles son las ventajas de hacer camping? A mi juicio, so taking that right out of the opinionated questions, a mi juicio, in my judgment, works perfectly. La comida es una de las mejores partes del camping. So that's 1 right there. Food, advantage 1, as I said right here. Además, me gusta que el camping implique caminar y tal vez nadar. That's our exercise. So we do some walking and maybe some swimming. I just threw in this tal vez right here to go to this transition word setting. It's good to have those, like I said, in the 90 words. So tal vez is there. Al fin, another transition word, same thing. Puede ser divertido ver los animales del bosque en su hábitat natural. Last one, seeing animals, right? So we've got our 3 advantages down. 1, 2, and 3. Now this is where we make the 1 disadvantage which I was talking about. Por otro lado, that is our contrasting transition. Por otro lado, on the other hand. So you can see right here, a pesar de, al contrario, por otro lado, en cambio. These are all ones that I could have used right here to switch to the disadvantages. Good to use when comparing. So, por otro lado. Odio que no puedo usar mi teléfono, especialmente cuando quiero hablar con mis padres, right? Can't use my phone when I want to talk to my parents. And the reason I was talking about this was because I wanted to transition into here, describe a problem that you had the last time you went camping. I wanted to say that I missed my parents. So by saying one of the disadvantages that I can't use my phone, can't call my parents, that lets us switch perfectly into the 4th question, creating structure like I mentioned before. La última vez que fui de camping, yo extrañé a mis padres un montón. Un montón, this is a little phrase you guys could use, just basically means a ton. Some good detail, adds. So take note of that if you want to. La última vez que fui de camping, yo extrañé a mis padres un montón. Answers the question, right? The problem that I had last time I went camping, I missed my parents a lot. And just to make that a little more detailed, tweak it a little bit, como resultado, again, right out of here, transition words, como resultado, as a result, lloré un poco. I cried a little bit. And so, boom, that ticks that off right here. I described the problem that I had, missed my parents, cried. ¿Cómo serían unas vacaciones ideales para ti? So this is also kind of opinionated, right? It's asking me para ti. It's a personal answer. So I'm going to go and use my opinionated question starter, a mi modo de ver. In my opinion, a mi modo de ver, una vacación ideal será con toda mi familia en la playa, bajo el sol brillante. Simple, and the reason I said con toda mi familia is because I mentioned I missed my parents, right? So again, this is kind of just like using the previous context to create something that makes sense, and the examiner will take notice of that. Just saying with my family, so that this all just ties up. I'm kind of creating a personality, I'm creating a voice in my writing, which you may see more in English, but if you could do it in Spanish, that's incredible. So creating a voice in my writing, this character, this writing of mine obviously has a connection to their family, so it's good that I've put this here. Then lastly, we're ending it with, again, another phrase that connects to the context of our email. ¿Qué pasa contigo? Like, what's happening with you? What's up in your life? ¿A dónde vas estas vacaciones? Where are you going this vacation? Because we can see that the person writing us was asking us about ours. So, good courtesy to write back. There we go. That's our answer right here. Now let's take a look at the writing mark scheme. So we have 3 different sectors. We have our task completion, our range, and our accuracy. So the first thing is task completion. Completes all tasks, provides detailed information, opinions, reaction, explanation. Writing is focused and wholly relevant. This is the main thing, letting it be relevant. Like I said, just don't go off topic. And completes all tasks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all written right here. Provides detailed information. That's the difference between this one and the 90 word. You want to have a little more detail, explain a little more, which is why I suggest throwing in some words like un montón, bastante, things like that. We go here now. Descriptor uses extended, well-linked sentences frequently. So this is what I've been talking about the whole video. Using these well-linked sentences, just taking what you've written previously and building onto that to answer the next question. That's really important. Uses a wide range of simple and complex structures listed in the syllabus to produce sentences of varying length. So all the questions that you're going to get in the exam, obviously they're going to come from the syllabus. They're going to be based on topics covered in the syllabus. So if you do struggle with your vocabulary on answering certain topics, I'm going to link a flashcards down below, which will give you guys pretty much the entire syllabus word guide so that you can get the top band on this part right here. Uses a wide range of vocabulary appropriate to the task, pretty much the same thing as the previous one, because the task comes right out of the syllabus. We can see we're talking about camping. Everything I said here is camping related. And so lastly, now we have here accuracy. So to get in the top band, accurate spelling and grammar, not necessarily faultless. You guys have a little bit of leeway when making mistakes. Basically, I would just say, if you were an English reader and you were reading someone's English paper and they have a few grammar faults, but it's not necessarily throwing you off your understanding, you should be fine. So you can, this, like, if this writing that you did was presented to a fluent Spanish speaker, they should be able to understand without having to struggle too much. That's basically what this is saying right here. So you can make a few mistakes, of course, it's natural. Just obviously try to avoid right here. So sections of material unrelated to any of the bullet points will be disregarded. If the whole answer to question 3 is irrelevant, contains no evidence of being related to the said bullet points, award 0 for task completion, range, and accuracy. So basically, stay on topic. You guys don't want a 0, right? Answer these questions directly. Make sure that in your writing, every single one of these boxes are ticked. Lastly, if question 3 is attempted but communication is not achieved, they have misunderstood the question, award a maximum of 4 for range and task for range and a best fit for task completion and accuracy. And honestly, the only way you can misinterpret this is if you don't know these right here. This gives you the basis of your question. So please know these question words. And furthermore, practice your Spanish, practice the syllabus guide, because a lot of these topics are going to come straight out of that. And if you're not able to elaborate on that, you're going to have a problem. So now that we finished our writing, let's return right back here to the complete the sentence. This is just really simple. Just give one word answer. Don't overcomplicate it. So, clase de arte. What's your name, last name? Danny Diaz. Age, 15 years. Preferred day of class, right? Día preferido. So you can write anything here. Lunes, martes, miércoles. Your choice. Normalmente dibujo. What normally I draw animals, and you can say pretty much anything drawable. Colores favoritos, rojo, negro, rosada, anything you want. Me gusta dibujar porque es fácil y I like to draw because it's easy and divertido, right? Interesante. You could really put anything. This is just simple. And like I said, do it last. Do it last. It's only 5 marks and you can really get it done in 5 seconds. Just boom, 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 boom. That's it for the video. Subscribe for more IGCSE Spanish content and drop a comment if you have any questions. Adiós y buena suerte.